Hey everybody, welcome to Be You Only Better, or BYOB audio. This podcast was started to help listeners like you find a way to be your best self, but not change who you are. We want you to be your best you while on a journey to a happier and more fulfilling life. Tune in to hear personal stories of how people face their fears and overcome their struggles to become a better version of themselves. Thank you for tuning in and hope you enjoy. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of BYOB audio. It is my pleasure to get to introduce a very special guest, Sopheia McMorris. Now, I just want to mention that, yes, we're doing this as a podcast, but we're actually doing this as a video that we're going to be sharing as well. So, if you want to see behind the scenes of what it looks like of us actually doing this interview, you can definitely check us out. We're going to put this all over social media, and we'll be able to share it there as well. So, without further ado, Sopheia is a certified professional transformation life coach who helps people grow and advance, becoming masterful in their personal development. As a mother, Sopheia started her coaching business in 2013, and she's helped people deal with sometimes overwhelming prospects of knowing where to start and effectively using tools of personal development so they can progress to maturity. Sopheia has a Bachelor's of Science degree in African American Studies and Political Science. So obviously she has a lot of experience and true wisdom, So without further ado, Sopheia, welcome to the show. I'm so glad to have you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, awesome. So obviously there's a lot to take in here. So go ahead and tell us a little bit more about you and kind of what you do.
I started, like you said, my business in 2013. And so I started getting clients locally. And so my focus area is really on the whole person transformation. And then really helping people to step into that place where they can use the knowledge that they have to really help to transform their life, because that will help to create a more customized and personalized program for them. A lot of people say, oh, I don't know where to start, even though I have a lot of knowledge about personal development. I've read the books, and I don't know how to get consistent results, and all of those things become factors, or I haven't found the program that really works for me. And so I kind of bring them in to a foundation that they can use the knowledge that they have already. Like, we don't have to go and reinvent the wheel on that, but we start showing you where you can use the knowledge you have so that you can actually move forward in your journey.
Wow, that is awesome. I'm so glad that you do that. I mean, it's definitely something that we need just across the board. If everybody's, their best self, then, then we can have just a better community, better society. And that really embodies what we're trying to do here with the BYOB audio podcast. So that's great.
Yeah, I really like that name. At first, I didn't know, you have that other BYOB type.
I know. Yeah.
But no, when I read it, I was like, oh, this is perfect for me, because I'm really actually helping people to be themselves only better. So
it's a pleasure to have you. And I mean, our listeners can definitely going to be able to benefit from everything that you're going to have to share today. So we're definitely looking forward to that. So speaking of which, all of our listeners know that we always start off the show with a unique shot of wisdom. So what do you have for us today, Sopheia?
My unique shot of wisdom is that once you choose love, everything is possible.
Yes, I love that. I love that. So, you're basically talking about from a relationship standpoint, or are you speaking more on loving yourself?
More on the loving yourself. And then it translates. So I think you start with you, and that translates into every area of your life. What you're going to do, your purpose and fulfillment. That's how you discover what your purpose is to really be in that frame of love. So it translates overall in every area.
Yeah, I love that. So especially when it comes to loving yourself, that's usually something that you realize after having gone through something tough, something where, you kind of breaks you down all the way to your foundation, just like what you were saying before. So, can you go ahead and share with us, what you would consider was your biggest struggle? We're all about stories here, and we definitely want to hear your story.
Well, my biggest struggle was really embracing my visibility. And then really, that before even embracing my visibility, wanting to be able to change my life. And then taking those steps. And so as I started my transformation journey, there was a way that I wasn't willing to like step in front of the camera, or I didn't like taking pictures because I felt like, I didn't look good. I was struggling with my weight and those type of things. So as I was able to get out of that frame of mind, then now, I moved from not wanting to even make a video to making Facebook, to doing Facebook Live, and then here to be on the show here. So it's just been, I have moved all the way out of my comfort zone.
Yeah, definitely. That's awesome. So I feel like, what you're sharing is absolutely wonderful, in terms of the visibility being a struggle. But I think that's more of like a realization, and then now you're getting better and you're taking steps to be better.
Yeah.
But when was it that you first realized that you had this degree of being self-conscious?
Well, like I said, I'm originally from Jamaica. And once I came from Jamaica, I felt like I just started struggling with my weight. Like everything was just different here. The food was different and everything like that. We used to, have so much more activities. You were walking around, you had to walk most places at the time, and then get here and everything is different. So I started just like the weight started creeping on, and I just started doing different things to try to, lose weight and be better and all of those things. And so I really struggled with that for years. And I thought, okay, let me address the outside issues. And so as I'm doing those type of things and, taking diet pill and exercising really hard and doing all these things, there's a way that it's working, but it's not working. So I get started and I make some progress and I lose some weight. And then next thing you know, the weight's back on and then so. So it's like I went through this, round the mountain struggle for so long until I discovered that I needed to do the inner work. And so in doing that inner work and really getting to the heart of the matter, those feelings and emotions, of why I'm where I am, and then how to start changing the limiting beliefs, that's how I was able to start taking those forward movement steps.
Yeah, I think that's great. So in terms of, when you moved over here, how long ago was that?
That has been such a long time ago, but it's still, it's still very much like a pertinent part of my story, because I mean that's the first time I think when I even noticed myself. I was like early teenage years, when I first moved here from
Yeah.
Jamaica.
So I think, not only just being a teenager, moving to somewhere new, there's a lot of
Yeah,
fear, related and pertaining to that of, you're getting into just not just something new, but that's a completely new culture.
yeah.
Like you said, just the food that we have.
Going to school, that was really hard for me. Everything was different.
Right, right. So I think that's something that's very common for a lot of people to deal with, is how you deal with stress in terms of,
Right, right.
change in lifestyle. And I think that, ultimately through the years, you got around to changing and deciding that, it's actually you, about loving yourself, taking care of yourself, that kind of got you on your journey there. So what were some of the things at that age that you discovered to be able to get you, instead of going in circles of trying new things and whatever? What were some of those things for you that got you moving forward?
Well, I mean, for me, I've always liked, trying to change my life. Like that's it. But even as a teenager, I just felt like just addressing the outside problem, because I think that's how it goes.
Yeah.
It's like you get around people and, they say things to you that hurt your feelings, maybe about your size. I've had people, I told a story the other day on Facebook, is that I went over to visit my friend and I was wearing some yellow shorts, and somebody was just like, oh my gosh, your butt's too big to be in those shorts. And I felt so embarrassed and just so much shame. And I just left and, went home. But all of those things I internalized. And so for a long time, I had a love-hate relationship with yellow. Like I really wanted to wear yellow, but I was like, oh, it's going to make me look too big, so I'm not going to do it. So that self-consciousness was like so very present for me, in how I wanted to show up. And so it went on for a while until, I came to that place of, let me work on myself and really start realizing, I needed to be able to let go of like all that hurt, so I can talk about yellow shorts and the pain now without the pain. And that's one of the things I help people to do, is to be able to, create a new experience So that way they have a different emotion attached to it, so they can now like change the belief.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. And, basically going through those types of things where you have like guilt or you're ashamed of wearing certain things,
Right.
being able to move forward and share your story so that other people aren't as, self-conscious. I think that's
Right,
absolutely
right.
great.
Well, I had my experience of really changing that particular story in my mind when I wore a yellow shirt and had somebody take pictures of me and found out that that was like the best picture one of the pictures I liked the most.
Yeah.
So that way, now I had a new story, and I had a new experience with new emotions to then, release that old emotion that I had about the yellow shorts, and then really change that limiting belief that I don't look good in yellow,
Yeah.
or I shouldn't wear it because it's going to make me look big.
Yeah, so I think that's a great story. Now, obviously, everybody has different struggles with being self-conscious,
Yeah.
but let's say that you're talking to yourself in your teenage years. What would be some advice from you now to give to her about being self-conscious and kind of getting out of your shell?
It's just not giving voice to other people's opinions, because there's a way that when things are said you internalize, and then you start looking at yourself. And I already was at the place where I wanted to lose weight because I felt like, I had been piling on the pounds. And so then you hear somebody, and then what that becomes is this outside validation that says they must be right. And because you already have this old belief system at work, and then they say something, then you just internalize it even more and say, it's right. This is just who I am. I'm not able to move past this, but it's really about not allowing other people's opinion, to be what you're going to take and then lead your life with.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that can apply just across the board for so many different things. So, I mean, I think that's great advice. So now, we kind of know a little bit more about what you were struggling with, and thank you for sharing that. Now it's time to kind of take that into a positive light. Obviously, that propelled you into sharing your story and, just being more positive. So take us to that moment when you realized what your passion was.
Well, I would say, like I said, for me, the struggle lasted a long time. And it's an ongoing process. Transformation is never just, I get to a destination, or if I wanted to lose 10 pounds, I lost 10 pounds or 100 pounds or whatever it is. It's not that. It's really an ongoing transformation that you consistently have to work on and renew. But my, like I would say, light bulb, breakthrough light bulb moment happened where one morning I just got up and I was sitting down to meditate. And in that meditation, I like read a quote that I've just, I was always familiar with. I would hear it all the time when I went to church. I would just hear so much about it, and I read it myself, but it never really spoke to me until that morning. And it said, "Beloved, I wish above all things that thou would prosper and be in health, even as thy soul prospereth." And for me, it was like the word soul was like just jumped off the page. And I was just like, what is this? Like, what is my soul? At the time, I didn't have an answer to that. I didn't know what my soul is. I didn't know how to prosper my soul. So as I set out on a journey to discover that, I really discovered understanding my soul. I learned about my soul. I learned about aligning my soul and what that meant. And so that is where, I had my breakthrough moment. After that, I was able to go ahead and just lose like 100 pounds, like after that, like, I mean, like I had the awareness, the skill, the motivation, the everything within myself at that point to really put in the time, energy, and effort to really take those steps to do that. So that was, how I came to, even like Wisdom Speaks Life is born from that.
Wow, that is awesome. And I love that you can just pinpoint exactly when that happened. So how many years ago was that for you?
I would say that's probably about, oh my goodness, maybe like 10 or so or more years right now.
Mhm. Yeah, that's awesome. So even after all of, the time that's passed now, you can probably even track how much you've grown since then, right?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And for me, like I said, embracing my visibility meant that I had to move my business from being, like where I would go out into the public and talk to people to online. And so I've been working even before this, coronavirus situation occurred. I've been working on moving my business to an online space. And so I had to really work on myself to really embrace, wanting to be visible and just being able to get into the space of being visible.
Yeah. And I always love it whenever people take what their biggest struggle was and turn it into a passion for helping other people get through that struggle. So I just absolutely love that you're doing that. Okay. So when it comes to, certain times of uncertainty, kind of what we're going through now, I think it's always extremely important to stay excited about things. So what is the one thing that's got you most intoxicated about today?
That love is all of our superpowers. And the reason why I say that is because as I moved into that space of self-love, I mean, there's a way that you like I said, when you choose love, everything is possible. I believe that because I'm in that space of love, that it's possible for me to be sitting across from you, or, like in front of the camera right now, because there's a way that love translates to wanting to be able to be the best that I could be for me, but wanting other people to be the best that they can be also, to be able to share what I have learned, what I've discovered, the little pitfalls that I've gone through, and then to help them to not have to spend that same amount of time, that I had to spend over all these years to get here, but that they can move at a much quicker pace.
Yeah, I love that. So now it's time for our sips of success. And these are just quick questions for our audience to learn a little bit more about you. You ready, Sophia?
Okay. Yes.
Awesome. So who would you say is your biggest hero?
I would say, well, I have two. I have my mom and God.
Okay,
So,
perfect.
so my mom, because I felt like she showed me, without even saying the words, how to follow my dream, follow my heart, and follow my purpose. Like I said, we're from Jamaica. And so before we even got here, like she had to leave. There's a way that she had to make a decision, and she's like, I want to be able to give you guys a better life. So I'm going to need to go. And so then she left and she came here for a while until she was able to get us all to come over. And then once we were here, after she kind of raised us and, we graduated from high school and went to college, she's like, okay, now it's time for me to take another journey. And she journeyed back to Jamaica, where she was following her purpose, that she believed that she was absolutely called to from the time she was a child, is to be a pastor. So that's what she's doing right now.
Ah, wow. That's awesome. So we can definitely see where you get your speaking and wisdom from, right?
Right.
Okay, awesome. So what is your favorite way to de-stress?
For me, that's long walks in nature. I love going like all the time. People, I have friends that says, you're always in the bushes. Why are you always in the bushes? I was just like, because that's where I de-stress. I come out and after I'm done, I'm just feeling so good, so energized, and I can, just get back to doing what I need to do.
Yeah, that is awesome. What's the best advice given to you that helped you through a tough time?
That would be, do what you need to do so you can do what you want to do. And for me, what that means is that, like I said, I knew that I wanted to be able to, make a difference in the world. I want to be able to help people. And the only way that I was going to be able to do that is if I would embrace visibility. So that's it. I was able to do what I needed to do and still doing it so that I can do what I want to do, is to really make that difference in the life of somebody else.
Awesome. So I was actually really looking forward to this particular question just because, you're all about increasing confidence and working with people to be their best selves. So go ahead and share one of your personal habits that help you be your best self.
Well, that would be processing my own feelings. So when I'm on these nature walks, and I usually generally walk for like an hour, I take that opportunity to kind of evaluate myself at the end of the day, before I get ready to go to bed, but to really talk about, what am I feeling? How was it for me today? And if something happened and I wasn't so sure about that, to really spend the time processing where I'm at, and to just consistently keep doing that until I get to, some form of resolution where I can feel peace about the situation.
Yeah. So would you say, no, I'd love that you have, that time designated to decompress. But would you say that that's pretty much like a set habit, like nothing interferes with that?
Yes, yes. So I have this philosophy because I used to like grilling a lot. And so I would say, neither hail, sleet, snow, or dark of night will stop me from grilling because we're going to pull it up to the door and put an umbrella or do whatever. And I said the same thing about my going walking. When I started to step out and walk, the weather would be different. It'll be really hot. It'll be cold. Sometime it was, I've walked in 20 degrees weather. I've walked in the hailstorm when it was raining, so I'm very dedicated to doing this habit because I know that it really, really helps me to process myself and really help me to remain aligned and in balance.
Wow, that is awesome. Okay, so here we go. Last question. How do you define happiness and success?
Well, happiness and success for me is really about me having peace of mind. Hence why I'm going to walk and processing. Because I think one of the most important things is as people is that when whatever we're thinking or feeling or doing needs to be aligned. And so when I take people through my transformation program, parts of that is understanding your soul, know what you're thinking, know what you're speaking, know what you're saying, and really aligning that with the actions that now your body's going to walk out. So it's really, peace of mind, and the success of that is aligning both spirit, soul, and body. So that way you're just in that place of alignment.
Oh, that is great. Well, Sopheia, it has been amazing getting to listen to you and getting to know you better. Now it is time for last call. And what that means is this is your last chance to kind of share some parting piece of advice with all of our listeners, and then go ahead and finish with the best way to connect with you.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I believe that as you are in your journey with transformation and developing yourself, personal development, whatever that arena is or whatever you want to call it, there's a way that not to just work from the outside in or to just do part of it, like just, dealing with the way you're thinking about things and having new thoughts, but really doing that inner work. And being willing to go in and look at how you even came up with these limiting beliefs, and then really start affecting change from the root of the issue all the way up. So what that means is that you would look at your emotions and look at how that affects you, and how that has kept you in that same particular belief. Because if you're looking to change your beliefs, you have to change the emotions, which is like the fuel and the fire to your belief system. So when you change and you release those emotions based on whatever experience you've had, you're able to really start shifting and changing, whatever limiting beliefs that you have that kind of holds you in place, because beliefs are what directs our lives. Whatever it is that we believe is going to show us which direction we need to go.
Awesome. And that's great. And hey, just as a special gift, Sopheia is actually providing us with something for free because we're listening here. So what is it that you're going to share with us?
Well, I wanted to share, it's Wisdom Emotional Mastery. And what that is a PDF where I go in and I show you like just how to start dealing with your emotions, where to start, how to start asking you those questions. Start with your self-awareness. Then start with, making a decision about where you want to be. And then really, really choosing to figure out which side of the fence you want to be on. I feel like there is about two emotions that those are like the big emotions that people fall under. So one is love and the other side is fear. And so sometimes, a lot of times when things are happening in our lives, we may end up on the side of fear. And so what this PDF does, it just helps you to start knowing where you are and then how to start moving yourself and really using love, which is self-compassion, really practicing self-compassion for yourself. Once you find yourself over in that arena of fear, and then you want to choose to be on the other side of love. So in the PDF, I have two categories for you, one of love and one of fear. And with the love, there are like, scenarios, different experiences you have. You may experience sadness. You may have anger, you may have jealousy, all of those emotions. And then those might be on the side of fear. And then the other ones can be, under love with happiness and gratitude and all of those emotions that goes with being in that space of love. So if you find yourself on the one side, you always have that opportunity to accept where you are and then process your way into choosing that I want to be on the other side. Because I think it's really important for people to recognize you always have a choice, and you have a choice to stay, where you are, or you have a choice to move into the area that you want to be.
Awesome. And we have a special link for you in case you're able to just get on the computer and type this in. It is wsl3.wisdomspeakslife.net. And Sopheia, what is the best way to get in contact with you?
Well, the best way is you can like me on Facebook. You can also Facebook friend me or direct messaging me. If you wanted to get the PDF but hadn't had the opportunity to get access to it, I can send you a link directly and then you can pick it up that way.
Awesome. Well, Sopheia, thank you so much for your time and sharing your story and everything. It's just a pleasure to have you. And we truly wish you the best and we'll continue to change people's lives. So thank you for doing that.
Well, thank you so much. And for anybody who is interested, my next free offer, I'll be hosting a masterclass live on Zoom. So if they're interested in doing that as well, they can always, contact me on a registration link where they can sign up. And that I'd love to have them for that free training as well. We'll go more deeper in depth about my whole transformation system and even how they can work with me.
We will definitely put that on the description for this video. So definitely check that out.
Right. I think it's very similar to the one we just gave, but I think it's wslr.wisdomspeakslife.net.
Okay, there you go. Awesome. Well, again, Sopheia, it was a pleasure. And thank you for your time.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of BYOB Audio. We hope you found something valuable from the stories shared today. Make sure you subscribe and share with someone who may need to hear something from this podcast. See you next time, but here's to you on your journey to a happier and more fulfilling life. Cheers!